Hey guys, okay, I'm putting up this video as a bit of a warning to if you're sending out another DJ. Okay, this is what happened to me. My work has become pretty hectic as of late for the last couple of months. I've had to fill in bookings and all that sort of thing because of what's been happening, you know, with the club and the other club and all that sort of thing. Maybe I'm taking on a little too much, I don't know. Alright, now I've sent out some DJs to some gigs. Everything's been fine, not a problem. But I come across one problem, and I thought I'd bring this to everybody's attention. To if you're going to send somebody else, be incredibly thorough. Don't believe what they're going to tell you because it might not be right. Okay, I'll let you know what happened. This actually happened a couple of weeks ago. I sent a DJ to a wedding. Now, he told me he'd been DJing, maybe he had, for 12 years. And as I said, you know, maybe he had. He said he's been DJing for 12 years. He's been working with one of the biggest DJ companies in Melbourne for a few years. I did send him to a gig, it was the 21st, and before I went to the club, I popped in there, had a look. I made him to have a gig at his equipment and all that. Alright, top line equipment, all top of the line Denon CD players and just, you know, everything professional. It was all good. But I sent him to this wedding, and the next day of all days, I got a phone call that night, and the bride was not happy at all. Anything you could do wrong basically was done wrong. And this here, I was going to read it off for you. This is also the email that she sent me. We're out here in the office too. So I'll give you I'll do a quick read through on what she emailed me. When she rang me, she was obviously on the phone to me a lot longer than what's even written here. So there was a massive cock up. Doesn't do, well, from their perspective, doesn't do a lot for my business because I won't get bookings from them again, and I totally don't blame them at all. Plus I was lied to. We'll start off with around 3:30 in the afternoon. Now, mind you, it was a bit of a drive to get there. I rang this guy and I said, you know, where are you? He's like, oh, about 10 minutes from the place, I'm almost there. Well, only to find out later on that around 5 o'clock, she got a phone call, the DJ still wasn't there, and she started to panic. It was about 5:10. Mind you, the wedding started at 6 o'clock. 5:10, he turned up. And I know he also turned up with one of his kids. So he had one of his kids running around the reception area. So that's just out of the question. Just trying to read what she wrote here. So she wasn't happy at all. She just wrote, you know, the replacement that because I did ring her and tell her that I was unable to do a wedding. The replacement that I sent to her was totally unprofessional. Arrived almost an hour late, had a small child with him for some of the evening. I mean, the kid was picked up, but it's still no excuse. The one thing he did do right though, when they were all there, he did go up and see the bride and groom at the bridal party, and she did tell me she was relieved and happy at that point because everything she sent me, I gave it all to him. I told him exactly what to do, what they expect, what they want. There were certain tracks that do not play. So she sent all that. He went up to organise them all. Then she felt better and was, you know, wasn't worried about him running late until when it came time for him to introduce the bridal party. I think it was the father of the bride. He was told 3 times the name of the father. Well, he got it wrong, and it was a simple name. It was nothing difficult. All he had to do was read out the first name, no surnames. So he screwed that up. When it got time to get things started, around the 9 o'clock mark, the next thing that went wrong was on the bridal waltz. He was meant to call up everybody else to join the couple on the dance floor halfway through the song, as most of us do. He didn't do this. She's written here she had to keep looking over to him and try to signal to him to get people out there on the dance floor. He eventually did at some point, I don't even know when. Also, when it came time to actually kick the party off with music, he kicked it off at 9 o'clock with a lot of top 40 and dance, clubby, pretty much what I would do at a nightclub. He kicked off a wedding with this type of music. And that, that's unacceptable. You don't do that at a wedding. Okay, and the next part, I'm just reading through this as I'm relaying it back to you. When he was asked to requested to play a song, when he eventually did, he kept saying that, yep, in about 3 songs. Now, I wonder what was going on here when I heard about this, because she said this happened actually a lot. I had to wait for 3 songs. What he's got, as I worked out, because I got him to cover me one night at the club, just for an hour, and I thought, your mixing is superb, like, you couldn't fault it. Well, what it wasn't, he made out he was doing the mixing. It wasn't, it was all pre-mixed. It was 3 tracks, all pre-mixed and beat matched together, and he gave off the illusion that he knew what he was doing. And the problem was here, he didn't want to take on a request, because he had to wait for the 2 or 3 songs to finish before he would get into the requested song. So I think it was just a way of being very lazy and pre-doing this. I even heard you can even download this stuff where it's all pre-mixed together, and I think this is what he uses. Now mind you, he's supposed to have been a DJ for 12 years. Another thing he was doing, he was dancing very inappropriately towards young girls, which made people upset. She also did state in the letter here, only because she had seen what I do, and she wanted to keep her end of the bargain. She paid him, but she did state here that she said to him, "You are so damn lucky you're getting a cent out of us with what you've done." He screwed everything up. Like even on the way, when he was on the way there, when I phoned him, he said that he had no music and didn't know what to do for the entrance, the cutting of the cake. Now, the way I said, you've been going for 12 years, if nothing's written there, you should just know what to do anyway. So I told him what to do. And I did ask her this. I said, well, for the cutting of cake, did he do this? Did he do this on the entrance? And she said, no, he didn't. So apart from lying to me and completely ignoring me, he stuffed the night up big times. Also, she said he was outside more than half the night having cigarettes. Now, okay, I smoke, but I don't spend half the night outside. He was constantly on the phone texting. Now, she would have brought this up because she was pissed off. He always had a beer in his hand. Now, okay, you know what I'm like. I usually have a beer at functions or anything like that. But they're only going to pick up on that when you're doing something like this. Usually they're not going to care. But she said that. She said, look, even the fact of out for a smoke, on the phone, having a beer in his hand, if he did the music she wanted, she wouldn't have cared. But it just made everything so much worse. Now I did bring all this, there was a lot more, there's a lot there to read through. I did confront him about this. Of course he denied everything. And I said, did you go into retro 80s and all that? Oh yeah, I said, you do 70s? And then he turned around and said to me, you told me don't do any disco 70s music. And I looked at him, I said, what? And he's like, yeah, well you told me not to do any 70s. Come on, really? Would any of us tell another DJ or ourselves to not do 70s? I said to him, even if I sent you to 16th or an 18th, I still wouldn't tell you don't do 70s. I would never say that. I would probably say don't do techno and trance, but I never said anything about don't do anything. I told him what tracks they've asked for, which he had in a list, and I said these tracks here, do not play them because this was the second time around marriage, and these were the songs that were played for Bridal Waltz and that for the first. Just remember to, if you end up being busy, like me, doing clubs and all this sort of stuff, and you need to bring in other people, really, really thoroughly go through them. That's what I should have done with this guy, but I believed him on 12 years experience and all this sort of thing. It may be true, I don't know, but if it's 12 years experience, well, for 12 years, he still hasn't gained any experience as far as I'm concerned. He tried telling me that, he's dealt with the high flyers at Crown and all this sort of stuff. So I think basically he's pissed in my pocket and then kind of shit it in my face. So this is something just to take on. But on the joking side of things, John, if you're watching this, it looks like I've turned into maybe this, doesn't it? So, yeah. So he'll get nothing more.